Hey, all you Holly weirdos, you're definitely in for one big treat on today's episode because we are going to take you to a little house here located in Glassel Park that is called the Haunted Glassel Park House, otherwise known as the Haunted Polaroid House. Yes, you got that right. It turns out that this little house here has a few ghosts that like to make their presence known in a series of Polaroid pictures. Join us as we discuss a little more about the history of the home, its owners, and its possible unseen occupants. What is it connected to, or who is it connected to? Could it be the land? Could it be the house? Could it be the area? Or could it possibly be linked to a murder? We don't know, but we talk about this and more. We'll also learn about the show Sightings making its visit to the house back in the 90s with its favorable psychic Peter James. What was his finds and what were his ratings? So you guys already know the drill. Make sure you get your circle of salt ready along with your selenite, and be sure to be camera ready or have your camera on standby because we're prepared to take a few haunted Polaroid pictures as we get Holly weird at the Glassell Park house or the Haunted Polaroid house. Let's shake it like a haunted Polaroid picture. All right, guys.
Oh, hello.
Hi there. We're still going to get Holly weird in October.
I think we should.
Yeah.
'Tis the season.
Do you have your costume?
You know, I don't. I need to find one because my roommate, her birth, we have so many Scorpios in our lives.
Wow.
There's like 19 people that I know that are born. I mean, it's Valentine's, right? Like, I get how babies work. So my roommate, her birthday is on the 24th, but she's renting an Airbnb for like the week because it's her 30th.
Yeah.
And so it's the weekend before Halloween because Halloween's on a Monday.
I know.
So it's like, well, we're going to kind of do a Halloween party then. So I need to find something. What about you?
I have several costumes.
Yes.
Well, you know, I have like the traditional ghost costume because I'm kind of lazy. I know I'm a costume designer, but there are times where I get so burnt out where I just don't want to make anything.
You need a work-life separation.
I do. So right here, I'm going to pull a box out.
Oh my God.
You're ready.
Oh my God.
I have
Stop.
a
Oh my
spider.
God.
Look, it's a spider.
It's so, the eyes are so ridiculous.
And I think it's one of those things where you have to put air in it.
Oh my God.
and I bought one to match. So Mia can match me. She's going to be a spider too.
Yeah.
And then she already has like a taco and a hot dog costume. So I found.
Oh my God, I'm obsessed.
Hold up. I found a hot dog.
Obsessed. You guys are going to be little matching hot dogs.
I just need something that I can slip into, be able to eat a burrito and be comfortable. I know people want to be sexy, whatever, and that's fine. No.
And in fairness, I do find hot dogs quite sexy, just in general.
Right?
So,
like a really good hot dog.
I went to the county fair while I was at home, which, like, what a little autumnal boob. I had a county fair corn dog, which I have not had in, like, probably 20 years.
How was it?
Oh, my God.
Explain it to me.
Like, I'm going to mukbang the shit out of it. It was so incredibly good. I don't know what they do. It must be dipped in like dreams and crack because it was so good. And I was like, this is the best thing I've ever had in my life. So I find hot dogs very sexy.
Have you gone to this place called Mochi Nut here in Los Angeles? There's several of them. Okay, so it's a mochi donut, but then they have the mochi. They have a mochi hot dog.
Stop.
And it's a hot dog that has like chunks of potato and cheese and the dog.
Iconic. Those are my favorite words.
I know. And then if you go to, oh my God, what is this? Sawtell. Sawtell has all these really great restaurants.
Yeah.
And they have several of them that have these hot dogs like on a stick. And it's just like this heavy corn dog.
Yeah.
That is made of dreams, crack, and complete goodness.
I love it.
Yeah.
We need it. We have to have it.
And when you bite into it, it's like a mozzarella cheese.
Oh my God.
So you get that bridge of cheese as you're pulling it away from your mouth. You're like, oh yes.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That is all I want for trick or treat.
I know.
Just a bag full of that.
A bag full of corn dogs.
Yeah. Like, do you want a Snickers? I do, but later. That's my other bag.
Yeah.
I have my corn dog bag and my candy bag. Get it Right.
I hope in our new house we have
Oh, that'd be so cute. We don't get a lot.
I know, right? Because you rent a house.
We live in a neighborhood.
Yeah.
But like, let's just call a spade a spade. Kids are smart. And they go to rich neighborhoods.
That is true.
So my old boss, her neighborhood is in a very nice part of Studio City. I don't think she actually lives there anymore, but when she did live there, their street was it was like New Year's Eve in New York. Mm-hmm. It was literally like the whole street was closed and the whole neighborhood was closed. They had like private security.
Yeah.
And so you could drive on like the exterior streets. So my like Uber dropped me off and then I had to walk in. And like all the individual inside streets were closed off. And it was like sidewalk, street, sidewalk. So like probably 30 feet wide, all in. Shoulder to shoulder with like thousands of families shuffling to get candy from these houses. It was insane. And she was giving away like full-size candy bars.
Oh, hell
so
yeah.
Like they're not going to come to our house. You know what I mean?
Like, we're not going to come by for a Tootsie Roll.
Because like when we would have like pre-COVID Halloween parties, we never had to like worry. One time we had one sweet little princess come to our house. She was like maybe 8 or 9. She was like, "Hi, trick or treat." I was like, "I'm so sorry. We don't have anything. Like, let me go see what we have." We did not have anything. I was like, "I'm so sorry." And I did. I told her, I was like, tell your parents to go to this neighborhood. She's like, "Okay." I was like, "I'm so sorry."
No.
Yeah, so I might have a little bit, but I hope you do too. That'd be so cute.
I will have a couple of bags of candy just for myself and the kids. So. I know my old neighborhood, the Pocket, like we have our neighbors there too. And we had a couple of them last year and it was really, really fun. So now we started the tradition of dressing our dogs and watching Hocus Pocus on their projector that they put on in front of their house. So yeah, that is our new Halloween tradition. We're going to do it. We're going to love it. We'll invite you to come by.
Yeah, I love that.
And we do see the kids with the costumes. I live for that. I have to live vicariously through them.
I hope you get trick-or-treaters. That's cute.
I really do.
Now you have your little house. You need your little trick-or-treaters.
My little trick-or-treaters. I want to be that cool house.
You will be. Oh my God. You already are. It's decorated so cutely.
Thank you. Well, speaking about neighborhoods, we're going to touch on a really interesting house in a very special neighborhood in Los Angeles. Now, we talked about the Omen House. We've spoken about the Harris House in Glendale. And now we're going to talk about the haunted Glassel Park House, otherwise known as the haunted Polaroid House.
Insane.
And what I was told by a friend of mine, the haunted Kodak House. Now you're wondering why like Polaroid or Kodak?
Yeah.
Well, I was referred to this episode of the show on Netflix, Surviving Death.
Yes.
Episode 5, you'll meet John, I think it's Huckert, John Huckert, who purchased this house in the 1980s with his partner. And they started experiencing unexplainable occurrences. So he decided to grab his camera and make communication with what may be there, and what he found developing on that film, on that Polaroid picture, was something astonishing.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, shake it like a Polaroid picture.
I know, honestly, what a vibe. Like, I only appear on Polaroids. Like, all right, Olsen twins, it's fine.
All right, American Apparel.
True.
Sorry.
Truly,
if you know the story of American Apparel back in the day and what the owner did with Polaroids and the models.
Well, also now it's called Los Angeles Apparel and all their billboards are still like, so you didn't learn your lesson.
No.
You just changed the name
and the narrative a bit.
Didn't you file for bankruptcy? Okay.
That's where the real haunting is.
Yeah, don't shop there. Okay.
So here is the story of the Kodak House, or the haunted Glassel Park House. So Glassell Park is situated in Los Angeles, California. It is near Atwater Village, and there's a home there that is owned by John Matkowski and John Huckert. And if you see them in any of these interviews that I'm going to share with you, literally you could call them Little John and Big John.
Hilarious.
They're a really cute couple. So they claim that there's a ghostly presence or ghostly presences that haunt their house, and they make their presence known in a series of Polaroids. So the unexplainable occurrences began 30 plus years ago. And according to an interview with ABC 7 News in 2012, it all started when the Johns moved into the house in the 1980s. And the activity started when one of their bathroom doors kept opening by itself.
Oof.
Now, I'm sure that many would pan it to the wind, but John Huckert didn't because the floor by the bathroom was a little unleveled. So the door would get caught on that little unleveled portion of the floor. And in order for it to fully open, you really have to pull it away from that area.
So there's like effort.
There's a bit of effort that has to be made. And
look, the Santa Anas get gusty, but not like that.
Not like that.
Not in your house.
According to John Huckert, I shut the door again. And when it opened again, that's when I decided to grab my Polaroid camera and snap a Polaroid picture. First, I thought it must have been a joke because it looked so much like a stereotypical woohoo ghost that was captured on that Polaroid picture. So, Bryce.
Oh, God.
Bryce.
I'm emotionally preparing myself.
You guys are in for another treat because if you want to hear the fear in Bryce's voice, you're going to hear several versions of it today.
I'll do it for the Johns.
Do it for the Johns, Big John, Little John. I wonder who's the big spoon, little spoon.
Oh my God, hilarious. What? It's never the ones you expect.
Are you ready to see it?
Yeah.
This is what was captured.
Stop. That is not real.
Right? It looks like a commercial ghost. We'll be posting pictures, guys, on our Instagram.
That is... It's like a ghost costume of a ghost.
A ghost. Could it be possible if it's a ghost wearing a ghost costume?
That's literally what I was getting ready to say. Because there's so much like mist around it.
Right.
But that face is a ghost
It looks
costume.
so commercially, unless like it is doing that on purpose.
Right.
Making you see what you think a ghost looks like. Now, according...
I can't even... That is not what I was expecting to see. I'm not going to lie.
So, according to Huckert in interviews, Huckert thought it was a joke made responsible by his father who had gifted him the camera. And it's because his dad is a bit of a jokester, but when he approached his father about the camera, his father absolutely had no idea what he was talking about. He's like, I don't know how to fiddle with that.
Oh, God.
And when I gave it to you, it was in its original packaging, so there's no way I could have messed with it or tampered with it. So he reassured him that, he didn't do anything to the camera. But that was just the beginning. 3 months later, with a house full of witnesses, they decided to try to talk to it. So according to John Matkowski, I think the first question we asked was, are you here? Another Polaroid was taken. This time, an odd cloud formed the letter Y-E-S. Do I have this picture here? No, but I have other ones. But I think you can find that picture online. That just changed everything for us, according to John Matkowski. It's one thing to get weird light patterns and stuff like that. It's another thing to get communication.
Yeah.
So John Huckert then asks, whatever was there, are you... He pulls a Wizard of Oz. Are you a good witch or a bad witch?
Honestly, smart.
So he says, he asks, are you a good ghost or a bad ghost? He takes another Polaroid picture with the word friend. Do I have that one here?
Oh, God.
Oh, no, I don't. But it spelled out friend. Throughout the years, the two claim to have accumulated close to thousands of these communications. So they have accumulated close to 12,000 Polaroid Spectra pictures. Yeah.
Oh my God. And Polaroid doesn't even fucking exist anymore.
Right. But we have that other one.
Yeah.
We have the other one. I think I have it somewhere in one of my boxes.
I have an oldish, I have a 2004 one the film still works.
Right. So so these specific Polaroids are called the Polaroid Spectra pictures.
Oh my God.
But it gets better.
Oh God.
So in 1992, a video walks viewers through the Polaroid process from start to finish. Because I'm sure a lot of people are like, no, this is a joke. This is probably a defect of the camera. But the pictures are coming out with responses to their questions. So Huckert is seen in this 1992 video that you guys can fish out online. He is seen you see him opening the package of the Spectra film. You see him unwrapping it. It comes in a sealed wrapper. He puts the fresh film into the camera. Then he asks a question and waits for the Polaroid to develop after he, snaps the picture. So he asks the question, what happened here? What happened to you here? The answer comes back in Latin. With the
Latin?
Words, it gets fancy.
What a vibe. Polaroids and Latin. Okay.
So
Bougie.
it comes back with a word that spells out murder. Murder. Yes.
Goat.
Yeah. And I
In Latin?
And I oop in Latin.
Oh my God.
And I ooped in Latin.
And oop, indeed. Oh my God.
Yeah, so this, whatever is there is intelligent and it's communicating with John, but not only with
Right.
John Huckert, but also his partner too,
Right.
and other people start chiming in. Oh, it gets even better.
It's not Latin. Anything but Latin. I can't Duolingo this.
So he then decides, well, let me open my house up. In the very beginning, you had to be invited to this house. So
Okay, sure.
this wasn't something like David, you could buy tickets. They were inviting people. Like this was by
Right, it's their house.
Yeah, so they would invite a group of 8 or 10. Then it grew. Then the house got a lot more notoriety. So scientists, experts.
Oh my God.
I'm talking about FBI agents coming in, even representatives from photo companies, especially Kodak.
Right.
Have shown up to the John's residence with their own film and cameras to debunk the story, but haven't been able to. Now, in a recent gathering, I want to say in 2012, 2014, they invited a house full of skeptics, as well as a group of paranormal enthusiasts to their home to try it for themselves.
Sure.
There has been a lot of long suspicion that someone is buried underneath the house.
Oh, God.
So the group, using their own films and cameras, as is documented on ABC 7 News, asked if that was the case. Again, another picture was taken with the Polaroid and in a...
Oh my God. Mia. Oh my God.
Baby.
I just got so
Sorry, my
scared.
4-year-old boxer woke up from her nap, guys. You just heard
Oh my God.
We heard you scream.
I just felt a wet little snoot on my elbow, and that was all she wrote.
That would have been funny if it was on your foot.
Oh
compared
my
to
God.
our
Oh
last
God,
episode,
I know.
we're talking
Could
about
you
like
imagine?
fetish
No.
ghosts.
Oh my God,
Oh
that
my
scared
God.
me so.
Baby girl.
We all know I'm very jumpy as a human anyway, but ooh, she got me good.
Ooh, you're
Theo.
really into this story.
I am though. Oh my God. Oh God, we're gonna have to warn people that I fucking scream
That is
into a
so
microphone.
crazy. We captured it, guys, on audio. You just heard the fear escalate
A
in
full
Bryce's.
meltdown. Oh God, she literally just put her little mouth right on my elbow, right as you were talking about that.
Oh, baby. We're going to go outside soon.
I know. Hi, Mia.
Okay, so
I'm gonna go lay down.
So they invite people, enthusiasts and skeptics, to come in with their own cameras. They ask, if there's anything buried underneath this house, and it says in a cloud formation on the Polaroid. There's 2 Polaroids that came up with the answer dig and here.
No.
Then something else happens, and I actually have the picture of it right now. I'm going to show it to you.
Oh God. Clearly, I'm in an emotionally
So
vulnerable
through the
state.
years, it hasn't just been the door opening and then these Polaroids showing these unusual anomalies and words. Huckert has always talked about seeing what he calls shadow people. So now he has shadow people in this house. Something I've seen a lot, according to Huckert, and a few other people have seen, are these shadow people. They are like shadows, but they are in the middle of the room. For the first time, they believe they captured one on film in a group picture taken that night where ABC News was doing their footage and interview. I'm going to show you the picture, and it is clear as day. You see it clear as day in the photograph. You see it right immediately.
Oh God, I hate it.
And I've seen them, and that looks like a shadow person.
Right, yeah. And it's like the fact that everyone in all the different angles that there are still fully clearly lit except for that entity, which does not look like it's super far or like it. Oh.
And this is when I know like they're legit, is when in an interview I read with Huckert, he describes it as blacker than black.
Yeah.
And that is a common description of shadow people. So when people are like, I can't see through it or past it, it's blacker than black.
Yeah, in my very limited experience, it's not like there's someone who's wearing like black clothing where you can still see like their skin, there's clothing, there's still, even in dark settings, there is light reflecting off of it. It is like a void of light. Mm-hmm. And that is a very jarring experience to see, because you're just like, what am I even looking at? Like, we can only see things that are based around light. Right. That's why we can't see black holes. Mm-hmm. It's the same kind of thing. Like, ugh.
I know.
Oh, God.
I know. This is, I mean, like, what's the end game? I know people are like, no, it's got to be something to do with the film. It's got to be something to do with the camera. But you've had people like specialists come here, scientists, skeptics, and even cynics, and they can't even come up with
12,000 Polaroids.
That says something.
And they have enough like kindling to start a fire and just burn the whole house to the ground. So good. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, yeah, it does. It says something. That's a body of evidence. That's insane.
So according to Bill Murphy, a paranormal investigator who was there present during that ABC 7 News footage, and when that picture was taken, he says, amongst our group is another figure, but it's not a person, it's a shadow of a person, but there was nobody there when this picture was taken. So you have people validating, witnessing, hey, there was no one standing right next to me when this picture was taken. The dark figure stood right next to Huckert. Even the hardened skeptics present that night were perplexed. There are some who have left the Johns home feeling as though that there is something completely shady going on. Yeah. But if you watch their 2012 interview with ABC 7 News, you can tell what they're experiencing is pretty genuine. John Matkowski ends his interview with this quote, "I'm not scared. I'm just in denial. It's like driving the freeway. It's terrifying, but you just got to keep going."
Right.
So what could it be in the John's house? John Huckert ends up sending a photo to the show Sightings, and he immediately gets a response back. The late psychic Peter James was hired to inspect the place, at which point he came to the conclusion that there was a vortex present in the hallway of the home, and there was a spirit of someone who passed on that area that is now protecting the place. John Huckert and Peter James, for some of you who don't know who Peter James is, who may have remembered the show, he was like kind of like their go-to psychic.
Right, yeah.
He was made famous too for making communication with a female ghost named Jackie in the Queen Mary's pool.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he had a heavy black mustache and white shoulder-length hair. Yeah. He was just unforgettable. But it turned out that John Huckert and James became really good friends. So according to John Huckert, the folks of Sightings, took his camera that he's been taking these Polaroids with. They examined the camera. They took it to Polaroid. They took it to the actual headquarters of Polaroid. They examined it. They examined all of the photographs. Yeah, through the years, there's been so many theories on how it's been done, how we're doing this, how can we create these ghost images. According to John Huckert, one of my favorite theories, someone said that how the photographs are done is that there's a little person in the basement, and what happens is when you ask a question to the air, they type in a computer and it's projected out through lasers in the house that writes on the photograph instantly.
What?
I'm sorry, but that's a lot of work.
Right. And here's the thing you have to understand is like in any scandal or cover up or any episode of a Shonda Rhimes show that you've ever watched, like the more people that are involved, the harder it is to keep that secret without like exorbitant amounts of energy, blackmail, or money. Like you can do it, but the more people that know, right, it's always that scene where it's like one person like saw and now they're a loose end.
Yes.
But that is the truth. Like the more people who are in on a secret, the harder it is to keep that secret. So let's say they have a little person in the basement who is lasering the answers onto film. That's 3 people that I can think of right there. And then every time they bring someone over, they're adding more chances that story gets out. Like
Right.
If you hear hoofbeats, think horses. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I mean, if you see them in their interviews, like they really look genuine. Their stories never change. I mean, these are two older gentlemen that you could tell are not technologically savvy.
Right. And like they're suddenly in their home creating things that are like better CGI than we had in the 80s. Do you know what I mean? Like
seriously,
with a Polaroid, like come on.
So when you start going on about, you know, like, well, it's real easy just to take a pen and write on the back of the Polaroid, according to John Huckert. So he's saying like he grabs the Polaroid picture before inserting it into the camera. He writes in the back of the Polaroid and you can clearly see the pen marks. Because if you do, because we tried it, we actually tried this technique. We took a pen and it leaves a mark and it doesn't look like anything. It looks like someone took a pen and wrote on the Polaroid. I don't know how that theory has gone around and round and round. Now, according to the Johns, they have also both taken lie detector tests and have done voice analysis to see if they were lying about the phenomenon in the house. Keep in mind that they don't charge for these gatherings. They just simply want to share these experiences.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're not charging tickets or anything because there's a lot of places that they charge you at the door.
Which, like, look, everyone has to make a living, but you would think if they were doing it for that, then what? Like, what's the point then if they're not making money?
Exactly. So you had all these specialists, even Polaroid, saying 2 sightings. We cannot find anything out of the ordinary in this camera and the film that he's using. Now, according to Ben Hansen from the show Factor Fake, because Factor Fake went to this house.
Wow.
They have even investigated the house a few years back, and Ben Hansen can't come up with an explanation either. He's a really good investigator. He comes in with a very logical mind.
Yes.
And he's even said, I'm left without any answers. Like, I'm completely perplexed. And as of 2021, you can actually watch the interview of John Huckert in the Netflix documentary Surviving Death, episode 5 of Seeing Dead People. Now, in this episode, John mentions that him and his partner found property records of 4 individuals who have lived on that property. And one was a person who goes by the name Wright, which they had spelled in one of their Polaroids. So here is the Polaroid that says right here.
Oh my God.
But there's no one who has died on that property that we know of that's on record.
Oh God.
And these past owners have passed, but they did not pass away on that property. Another interesting thing that is mentioned in the documentary, John Huckert mentions the phenomenon would only appear on Polaroid spectra camera. So it would only appear in those specific types of Polaroids. There's probably something to do with the chemical that is used for that development process. Who knows? But, you know, that type of specific film, can it really capture, you know, a said apparition? Is it demonic or negative? Now, according to an interview the Johns had conducted in 2014 with NPR, Huckert states, as creative people, we faced a lot of self-doubt and it can be crippling. At some point, we asked Wright, the entity in question, should we keep pursuing what we love even if it's hard? And he came back with a photograph. He said, dreams and destinies merge. And we thought, you know, it's not about like being successful at the moment. It's about dreaming things and allowing your destiny to present itself. It changed our perspective.
Love that.
The house has a way of letting you know that it's okay to be insecure, but to not ever give up. So with that said, it seems like whatever's there is a very positive presence.
Yeah.
They've been living there for 30 plus years.
Damn.
It hasn't scared them out. Their lives don't feel like it's in danger.
Yeah.
And I know in past interviews, not once has John mentioned that they feel like it's something sinister or oppressive. It's been quite positive. For me, what they clearly have is like a live, laugh, and love ghost.
Yes, it's very like my neighbor next door. It's very, it's sweet.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's really interesting because this ghost is like, I don't know if it was a counselor back then, but there's this other picture right here with an answer that says anything is possible.
Okay.
I would have died if it would have written like live, laugh, love.
Now this
Now
ghost
we know the true story behind
is
this
starting
live, laugh,
to
love.
lose me. You're too positive. I don't believe you. That's
We have
crazy.
heard so many crazy stories. Ghosts with foot fetishes, ghosts who are encouraging. Don't give up.
It's such a little cat poster. That's hilarious. Anything is possible, except appearing on other kinds of film, but that's neither here nor there. Fine.
I mean, they feel like it's
Yeah.
very positive there. They haven't
Yeah,
been scared
totally.
off. Now, Matkowski also states in the interesting, that I found pretty interesting too, there's something special happening in our house. I feel it, and it just makes you feel like small and just insignificant when it comes to the whole entire world.
Yeah.
You know, there's something bigger, something better, and something grander. For me, it really lends to the question, is there persistence in consciousness that persists and perceives after we pass? I've mentioned this before.
Yeah.
Like, what happens when we pass is the biggest question. And it's true, like, we don't know the answers of the
Right.
universe, and we truly don't know the answers of what happens to us after we leave our
Yeah.
physical body.
Yeah.
I want to bring up this beautiful quote that John brings up in the documentary. For the believer, proof is not necessary, and for the skeptic, no proof is possible.
Deep tea.
Very deep.
Yeah.
That was
that's-
steeped heavily.
But that is what it really comes down to. It's just at a certain point, I had a teacher in high school who would always say, a leap of faith for some people, it is a leap over a Grand Canyon, and for some people, it is a leap over a crack in a sidewalk. And you can't merge those two things.
Right.
It's up to that person.
Exactly. Lovely. So the conclusion, my question is, what happened on that land or the house? I'm really interested in learning the history of the land and the house. You know, I do believe him.
Yeah, totally.
I've watched 4 interviews, listened to 2 of them audio. You could find them on NPR. You could just Google like Glassel Park haunted house, and you'll find a slew of them. We'll also put the ABC7 interview news footage
It's
on
so
our
crazy.
show notes, because you can watch the video and see them in their interview. But I truly believe that their story is definitely true. You
Totally.
could hear it in their voice. Like, he really feels like there's something there, and it's definitely making its presence known, and not just to him, but to everybody else.
Well, it's so crazy too, because again, like, if they were trying to like scam people, then like, wouldn't they be trying to make money off
which
of
is
it?
something that I've seen so heavily,
Right.
even in places, because this is a thing too that I've learned. There are some places that have caught up with the notion and the trend of dark tourism.
Sure.
They know how much of a cash cow that is.
Truly,
And there are 2
truly.
hotels in California, 2 places I know for a fact
Oh God.
through historians, like very accredited historians, that are like, oh no, they know what's up. And they actually there's 2 places that have made up stories just to get tourists to come in. Yeah.
Of course, that's always going to happen.
There was this news article several years ago about this. I think it was an amusement park, or it was a bed and breakfast somewhere in Europe. I'm going to try to find it, but these owners purposely created ghost stories surrounding that park and the structure.
Wow.
Just so they could get the public to come in and stay.
Crazy.
And it worked. And then,
Jesus.
then guess what? Guess what happened? They got caught.
Right. Of course. Because eventually, look, here's the thing. You're probably going to have like a first wave of people who are like so excited that they want to believe whatever you're going to sell.
Right.
That's fine. But eventually you're going to have someone who's like, something's not adding up. Something's not right.
Yeah, and they had those people.
Right.
And they went through, they're like, we're not trying to mess with you guys. And they were like, look, if you want us to do a lie detector test, you want us to do voice analysis, we'll do it. Like, we don't care. Like, we're not trying to profit off of this. We're just trying to tell our story.
Yeah.
Part of the paranormal, too, from what I've learned in my journey, is not just connecting with the dead, but also connecting with living people.
Ugh, truly.
And it's also this process of storytelling, and it's the art of storytelling.
Totally.
I think it was John E.L. Tenney who mentioned this in Strange Escapes, that it is so important to share the stories of those that are no longer here to keep their memory alive.
Yeah.
And I think it was David Eagerly. He brought up this quote of David Eagerly, and paraphrasing it. But we go through 3 deaths. Where we pass, where we're buried is the second death. And our third death is when our name is mentioned for the final time.
Yeah.
That is our third death.
That makes me sad.
It's a very much a Coco moment, but
Totally. I
right.
love it.
But it's true. That's why it's so important to share the stories of those that are no longer here to keep some part of themselves alive.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what John Huckert is trying to do.
Yeah.
What do you think is going on in the John's house?
Well, when I first saw it, to me, it looked like someone had taken like a key and like scratched it in like a car.
Yeah.
Right? It's like that kind of writing. It's like very like lines, very no curves as much. But you would obviously be able to see that on a photo because that would be like creating indent and fleck, but it's like in the photo.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, look, as a person in general, if someone's like too nice, I'm pretty skeptical of them. I think often you have to be wary of people who are nice, and I'm using air quotes because nice to me is like a nothing adjective. It's just like the bare minimum. And so when people are like, oh, they're like so nice, like, what does that mean? That's like nothing. And the nicest people in my life have been the ones who have like ended up often hurting me the most. I would prefer people who are like honest or kind or like compassionate. Like those are like flavorful, active descriptors to me.
Yeah, you want a Capricorn.
Yes.
I'm married to one. He's like, babe, I'm just being honest. No, you're being mean. Oh,
right.
Some of it's true.
At least like honest. Yeah, it can, it can be hard to hear sometimes, but it's like an active thing.
Yeah.
Whereas like nice, it's just always such like it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And if it's like someone's like main attribute, I do not trust that person. So, that's something that I work through a lot in therapy anyway, because that's obviously like my trauma response is like, oh, nice, quote unquote, nice people are dangerous to me. So the only reason I bring all of that up is that this ghost being like, anything is possible annoys me, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, it seems like it's almost like the 3 of them are living together. They have like a little roommate that is just like helping them along.
It's
and like
a positive roommate. A positive reinforcement ghost.
Like when they needed guidance and positive reinforcement, their little ghost friend was.
I know. I don't think it should be called the Kodak House. It should be called the Live, Laugh, Love.
Totally.
Ghost House.
Totally. Yeah,
and like live, laugh, and love.
It's very cute. If that was me, I don't know that I would respond. I'd just be like, anything is possible. Okay. But again, I'm a mess, so it's fine.
Well, I think it's great to be a healthy skeptic.
Yeah.
I'd rather be a healthy skeptic than a disgruntled cynic.
Totally. What do you think is happening?
I believe that there's something going on there. I truly believe it.
Totally.
Things, occur out of nowhere. I just want to know what it is.
Totally.
100%. Like what is truly going on in that house? Could it be a ghost or could it be something that is crossing, paths in a different time?
Interesting.
Could it be a parallel universe? Something like a time slip?
Let me tell you about parallel universes. When like science is basically all but proven that they exist and we're just like, it's crazy to me.
Oh yeah.
Like they straight up are like, oh yeah, mathematically that exists. And you're just like, okay, well, math doesn't change.
And I sucked in math.
Oh, right. But like math is the only thing that's like a constant. Like it either does or does not mathematically work out. And they're like, oh yeah, mathematically there are multiple universes. I'm like, okay, well then that's real.
Yeah. Which
we've talked about is like, then is what you're seeing a ghost from a different time period or like a ghost in a different reality, alternate universe. Like,
there's a lot of things that we really don't know. Right. Like, for example, if someone says, oh, I went to this Victorian house and I saw this ghost of a Victorian girl. Well, was it really a little Victorian girl or a little Victorian boy? Because back in that time period, boys looked like girls. They both looked
long, curly little hair, dresses.
Like I said, we really don't know what we're really looking at. John E.L. Tenney did share the story. This really changed the trajectory of what we are really dealing with. So he responded to a case in northern Michigan of this woman who inherited this house. 2 sisters inherited this house from their grandmother. And he tells it so well. And I might be paraphrasing, but what happened was she goes into the house after the grandmother passed. It's empty. She's walking through the house. She's assessing it. She walks to the parlor and she sees these 3 apparitions. It's 2 little girls and an older woman. And the older woman is getting these 2 little girls into winter coats. And they are clear as day. They are just as real as human beings to her. They look up and then they notice her and they began to scream. And then she looks at them and begins to scream. She runs out, and that's when she calls the services of Tenny. Tenny comes in. He does his investigation. He does his research. Cannot find anything in regards to the house deaths that occurred. Nothing. Wow. So then time went on, and then the girl gets a call from the sister. She tells the sister what happened to her in the house. And then the sister's like, oh my God, that's so weird. Remember when we were young and our grandmother was getting us ready in that parlor? We saw a woman in the hallway screaming at us, and we screamed at her back, and she ran out.
I just got goosebumps.
And it's kind of funny how she resembled you now thinking back on it. And the girl was like, oh my God, you're right.
Okay, your light just went on outside, and I am not emotionally stable enough for that to be happening.
Oh, the neighbor. I can see your neighbor out there. Our ring light is amazing, by the way. So,
right, because, well, this is the whole thing where it's like the time travel paradox of
exactly.
Like, okay, but...
a time slip.
Yeah, and is it like it's always your future? I think the Avengers did that quite well. They're like, this isn't fucking like Back to the Future. If you go back and change something, that is your future. That's like because you're always moving forward. Mm-hmm. So like, even though that seems like a time loop for the person, like for the little girls, that was the present, and for the person, that was the present. They just like folded over each other.
They really folded. So the little girl who was getting ready by the grandmother was looking at her future self, and that future self was looking at her as a little girl.
Jesus.
When I say we don't know what we're dealing with, we really don't know.
My old boss used to always say, she would say, you don't even know the things you don't know.
Oh, that's... Ooh.
And it's...
I feel that in my espíritu so bad.
It's tough because in a way it can be quite anxiety inducing because you don't know how to prepare for that. Mm-hmm. But there is also a freedom in it because it's like, okay, well, sometimes you just don't know. And that's okay. It's fine. It's
fine. There is something going on. We just have to really know what is truly there.
Also, not to take it like but look, it's spooky season. I think it's very interesting. One of my all-time favorite movies, I think I've actually talked about it before, but it's definitely my favorite alien movie is Arrival. And one of the main, beautiful, so stunning. Amy Adams could have chemistry with a fucking
She made me cry.
She's such a good actor. It's so stupid.
Hard.
She's
like her just emotion and her delivery was so palpable.
But that's sort of, weird, that idea of like time, it's not linear. So, no spoilers, I guess. It's been out forever. But it's like as she understands more and more about these aliens who are outside of our concept of time, the things that are happening to her, you have no concept of where she is in the actual timeline. And I think that is probably pretty close to the truth. That like if we actually are living in a world with other aliens, that I guess we would call them, the fact, the chance that they're just like little gray men in like little saucers seems very slim to me. Or that they would be like humanoid and able to communicate with us seem very slim to me. The chance that they exist on a spectrum that we do not even have the ability to perceive. And so sometimes, for example, we cannot see a radio wave, but a radio wave affects us in our physical life. In a very similar way, if these aliens, again, for lack of a better word, are existing on a spectrum, I mean, our eyes can't even see like ultraviolet light. Like we have to develop technology to see things that like animals can just see.
Yeah.
And again, we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what spectrums we aren't even able to comprehend.
Exactly.
So we wouldn't even know to make technology to try and like register those things.
Yeah.
And then if there's like an entire world vibrating on that frequency that we have no way to perceive, how would we know? How would we know? Mm-hmm. Your foot could be in a ghost's mouth right now. And you wouldn't even know. No, that's from a different episode.
I know. That's the thing, too. Like, the environment has so much, it contributes to so much. Like, is it us that has an impact on the environment, or the environment that has an impact on us? And we have these devices like K2s and these prison-like devices that pop up with lights that people believe. No, it's telling us as a ghost that a ghost is here. Well, you know, the purpose of a K2 is to record and show you the changes in an environment. It's not technically there to show you that there's a ghost there. Yes, a ghost can manipulate or probably release some sort of energy into the environment.
Well, but also, as with quantum physics, the mere observing of quantum physics changes the activity of quantum physics. That's why it's such a difficult science. Observing the reaction changes the reaction. So yeah, you're measuring a K2, you're measuring that there is energy or a presence or something happening. Yeah, you're also there. We talk about this all the time. It's what you bring, it's what's there, it's the layers, it's the history, it's the things we don't know.
Exactly. Parapsychologists are there to study the environment too. Like, that is why the EDI, or the EDI, is a wonderful device. It records everything that that is going on in the environment. It has like a K2 EMF reader. It has a Mel meter, and it has this device that also records air pressure, humidity, and temperature.
Right.
So. Oh, yeah. So you have all these like things, that is able to record in the environment. Yeah. So it's really interesting because that is so important. And it is important to document, to see like what type of shift there is out there.
Well, good thing we solved it.
I know we solved it. Hey, E equals MC squared.
Oh my God. We're just like really smart. Oh my God. I don't know how we got so smart.
In those glasses.
Do you like these? They're new. Yes.
I love them.
They
look a little indie.
They're a little Dahmer-esque. I did not time them great. So my sister works at an optometrist's office, so obviously
they look great.
Yeah, they're really like when I tried them on. I was like, oh my God, these look like these are not something that I would have picked necessarily, but they're so different than what I've had in the past. I look like Jeffrey Dahmer a little bit. I'm a brunette Jeffrey Dahmer.
And you are from the Midwest.
I am, and here's the thing too. I am a Gemini, and there are more Gemini serial killers than all other signs combined. And honestly, I get it. I really can relate.
You're in touch with your inner serial killer.
Here's my alibi, and I think it actually would probably hold up in court. I would never have people over to my house, ever, to then murder them. I don't like when people are over. I like being alone.
You know what it feels like to be a ghost is when you don't want to be bothered. 100%. When I tell you, I fear the living more than I fear the dead. Give me a haunted house. Give me a ghost. People are like, you're not scared. I'm like, no. I am like a ghost myself. I just want to be left alone. I just want to go on my phone and watch my TikToks, eat, Sour Patch Kids, while the TV is on as background, like chaos. That's like all I want to do.
Yeah.
I just want to just relax and just not be bothered.
There's a ghost. This is so stupid. But there's a ghost in Harry Potter, and he is like the professor, and he just is like super old, and then dies, and then wakes up the next day as a ghost, and like goes and continues like teaching his class.
Well, in the books, wasn't there another one that was like a friar? He was dressed like a friar.
Oh yeah. Well, there's in the books there
several
are like
of them,
tons more, but I just feel like this one in particular, he's like the history of magic teacher, and he literally like died in his sleep, woke up the next day as a ghost, and continued teaching. And honestly, that just seems really nice to me. I don't want to work for all eternity. Like if there are ghost jobs, I'm going to be livid.
Oh, I highly doubt it. But there are ghosts or stories of people who have claimed like, hey, this worker passed away. Frank, like the story of my Frank.
Oh my God, right. And he's still, oh my God.
He still went back to the sewing machine shop.
Yeah, because he loved it so much.
He loved it so much. But to clock in the afterlife, it's like, do you really want to do that?
I guess I will be clocking in as Henry Cavill's little ghost shadow. So,
there you go. That's a job.
If you love your work, you never work a day in your afterlife or something.
That's true. All right, guys. So let us know what you think of the Glassel Park ghost. Send us an email, drop us a line on Instagram. We'll definitely be posting these pictures. You can go on the show notes to click on the ABC7 News interview. Mia is bugging me because she's ready to go and do her business outside, but you know the drill. If you love Holly Weird Paranormal, please drop us a line and drop us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. You can find us wherever you get your podcast fix. Also, we do have a Patreon page. If you go over to patreon.com/Holly Weird Paranormal for as little as $1 or more per month, or for however many months you want to help donate to this Holly Weird train to keep it going, you can. You'll be gifted in gifts such as pins and stickers and coasters, and you'll be automatically inducted to our Saturday Night Ghost Club, where if you can't get enough of Holly Weird Paranormal, you've already done your binge listen. You could do more binge listening on our Patreon page and listen to ghost stories from people that we've recorded ghost stories from. There's a ton of them there, and I have some new ones that I'm ready to upload onto that site. Please feel free to stalk us on Instagram and Facebook at Holly Weird Paranormal and at HWP Podcast on Twitter. You can also go to our website, hollyweirdparanormal.com, to learn more about me and Bryce. And if you want to shop her merch store as well. And be sure to catch me on TikTok. I'm under Haunted LA Girl, Holly Weird Paranormal, if you want to learn more about Haunted California. All right, guys, take care of yourselves. I hope that you are picking out your costumes with great ease. I know it could be very stressful.
Yes.
But take care of yourselves, and always remember to stay Holly Weird. Bryce, do you have anything you want to say?
Bye.
Oh, and a big shout out. Sorry, guys. A big shout out to our listener, Pim J. Thank you so much for your housewarming gift.
That is so
I have to give you the letter because
oh my God,
she says some beautiful things in this letter, and she understands what I'm going through. Went through when moving in, and I still feel like I'm moving in.
I know it's my least favorite experience.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, guys. Take care. Stay Holly Weird, and we'll catch you soon.
See you soon.
Bye, guys.